All right, so welcome to week 11. We skipped last week because of the fires, so we're going to be consolidating and kind of shifting some of our information that we're learning. Today, we're going to be covering the side bends, excuse me, side bends and twists. And the side bends are going to be covering a lot of this area that we don't necessarily think about very often in terms of when we are exercising and practicing in general. But when we do work into the side bends, what happens is we allow ourselves to have more opportunity to breathe better. So when we open up into the intercostals, so the muscles in between the ribs, these actually create space for our rib cage to expand and for us to take in a deeper breath. When we also open up through the side waist, we might alleviate any of our low back pain. And with the twists, you're just going to feel this overall just yummy squeezing and wringing out of the body. Sometimes we need to get all tangled up and twisted to unwind. So we're going to start off on our back today. Make your way onto your back, and I want you to have your knees bent and your feet on the floor. So once you make your way onto your back, give yourself a moment just to situate. See if you can bring your shoulder blades so they lie a little bit more flat. And then with your knees bent, I want you to actually take a wider stance with your feet. So your feet are going to come to the outer edge of the mat with the little pinky toes hanging off. Your knees are still bent, and your hands can either rest on your belly or down by your side. We're just going to start off by rocking our head side to side. So tipping it over towards one shoulder, going back up towards the sky or the ceiling, and then over towards the other side. And feel free to do this with your breath if you choose. Maybe it's the full length of the breath to go from one shoulder to the other. Maybe it's only a half, so it's an inhale up, and then exhale down, and inhale up, and exhale down. Just finding a rhythm and pattern that feels appropriate for right now. And again, there's no right or wrong, just what feels good right now. Starting to free up musculature in your neck, the top of the spine, while also giving yourself a nice massage in the base of the skull. And then tipping the head one more time in each direction. And returning the head back up through center. We're going to do a very similar movement with our knees. So they're going to sway side to side, and think of windshield wipers. So the feet are going to stay on the ground. You're just going to tip them over to the right, and you're going to lift them up through center, and then tip them over to the left. Good. Back up through center, and then over towards the right, center, and to the left. You'll notice that one hip is going to lift up, and that's okay. Center, and over to the other side. And allow that other leg, the bottom leg, to really spill out. Inhaling up and exhaling across. I know myself, I'm noticing a little bit of that resistance, like I don't want to let that leg go. And then I remind myself that it's okay to let go. And that allows that leg to release and get a little bit deeper stretch. And so you may notice something similar in your body as we start to warm up, become familiar with the movement again, and just being aware of what we're doing, what we're experiencing. And the next time that your knees tip over to the right, I want you to allow them to stay there. So they're going to tip all the way over towards the right, Let the legs be heavy. You're going to take your right leg, right foot, take it on top of your left knee. Let the weight of your foot encourage your left knee down. You're going to feel a little bit deeper stretch along that left side of the waist, feeling that length. And if you really want to feel a good stretch here, take your left arm in the opposite direction of your left knee, almost like you're pulling your arm, your hand in the complete opposite, being pulled like being on a stretcher. Good. And releasing your right foot back down to the mat, to the outer edge. Lift the knees up through center and then tip them over towards the left. Same idea. Let the legs get really heavy and then take left foot, stack it on top of right knee. Good. Encourage that knee down. And remember, we're being gentle with ourselves. So maybe it's just enough to have the weight of the foot here without feeling like you're pushing the outer ankle into the knee. And then maybe extending your right arm across. You feel that big diagonal stretch. Keep reaching out. And full breath. Noticing how the breath might enhance the stretch. Good. Releasing the left foot back down. Lift the knees up through center. We're going to scoop the knees in towards our chest, wrap the hands around, and then just rock side to side. Your hands can be to the front of the shins or the back of the thighs, whichever feels like it's more available for you. As you feel yourself rocking side to side, allowing the back to release even more. And then carefully tipping over to the right. You're going to roll all the way over, press your left hand into the floor, extend top leg, and ease your way up to a comfortable seat. In your comfortable seated position, we're going to bring one ankle in front of the other. It doesn't matter which, because we will switch sides. We're going to start off with some seated cat-cow. So just going through that pelvic tilt, hands either to the front of your knees or on top of the knees. I like to have my hands kind of cut to the front, so I use my hands to help me. You're going to rock the pelvis forward to that 6 o'clock tilt, moving the belly out in front of you. Pull the shoulder blades back and together. Use your hands if you have them in the front, and then push them into your knees and shins. Chin climbs up. And then exhale, round the spine. So your hands can support you as you lean back, going into a 12 o'clock tilt. I lost my headband. Rounding through the low back. Good. Rocking up and forward, inhaling into that back bend. And then exhaling as you tuck and round. Chin pulls in towards your chest. Good. Inhale as you rock forward. See if you can climb the spine up a little bit higher. And then exhale, round through the spine, pulling back. Good. Inhale, lifting up nice and tall. You're going to arch the back again, dip your chest forward. So now you're hinging at the hips. You're getting down as low as you can, that nice back bend, and then sway the belly over towards the right. Circle back around, and then over towards the left side, and then back down by your feet. Swinging the belly around, moving all the way around, and then back by the feet. And one more time in this direction. And then changing directions, going towards the left leg, circling back, all the way around, forward and down. Inhaling as you scoop from belly all the way to the left. Exhaling as you round back and down. Good. And then making your way back up through center, sitting up nice and tall. I want you to take your right hand to the floor beside you. With the fingertips, they're going to be facing away from you. Elbow's going to point in towards your body. So try to avoid the elbow going back. It's going to round the shoulder. Pull the elbow in, shrugging the shoulder, and then reach your left arm up and over. this is what we're going to be starting to really focus on a lot of today. Imagine that these side ribs are like gills, that you can breathe into that space, opening and expanding, and then plugging down into that left sit bone with a little bit more force. So feel that the sit bone is connecting to the ground as you open and expand through your left waistline. Good. Another full breath in here, keeping the arm just above the ear. Good. Pressing into your right hand, inhale up. Exhale, left hand down. Same idea, elbow pulls in towards the body, not back behind you. And then reaching your right arm up as you plug into your right sit bone. Open up through your right rib cage. Good. See if you can slide the shoulder blade down and away from your ear. Another full breath in. Really feeling that big expansion through the side waist. Deep breath out. Good. Lifting yourself back up, both hands up towards the sky. Exhale, release. You're going to switch the feet out. So change the crossing, opposite foot in front for easy sitting position. Hands come to your knees again. Inhale, rock forward, climbing up, and then exhale, rounding through the spine. Inhale, lifting up, feeling that big movement through the spine, and then exhaling, curling back. Inhaling, opening up the chest, and exhaling, curling it back. Good. Inhale, lifting up, and then exhale, dipping down. Let the hands walk out in front of you, and then allow the head to relax down. So you're folded over your crossed legs. So in this folded shape, you're going to walk your hands over to the right. Stay low. See if you can stack your left hand on top of right hand. Reach out through your left fingertips a little bit more as the left shoulder wraps down towards the ground. Release the head down. Breathing and softening the face. And then walk the hands back in through center and all the way across to the other side. Now right hand's going to stack on top, head comes down in between your arms, wrapping the right shoulder towards the floor. You keep your right sit bone pressing down. Good. Then hands walk back in through center and then in just towards you a little bit. So enough so that your hands are pressing into the ground, your elbows are straight. You can feel yourself in a flat back. So you're still finding that you have a limited flexibility here, especially in the hips. You may want to walk your hands back a little bit further. Okay. I want you to bring your thumbs to touch so your hands are planting on the ground. Keep your spine long. Inhale, open your arm out to the side. Notice I didn't change anything else, just my arm. And now I'm going to move from the rib cage and open up the torso. So I'm reaching all the way back. Yes. Just like that, Michelle. Good. Then taking your right hand down, thumbs are touching. Left arm goes wide, just like the wing of a bird. And then you move from the rib cage. This is key. Good. So we're wrapping the rib cage up and around. That the arm is just an extension of the movement that's happening from the rib cage and the spine. Good. Taking that left hand down, walk the hands all the way in. We're going to climb up onto all fours into a tabletop, either rolling over your ankles or sending the feet off to one side and making your way into your tabletop position. If you want your towel, placing it folded up underneath your knees for some extra support. And then bringing your hands all the way down onto the ground. Fingertips are spread out and still gripping into the mat. Let's go through a few cat-cows. We're going to transition into our child's pose through those. Inhale, finding your cow pose. Belly comes down, heart forward, tail and crown up. And then exhale, round your spine into your cat. Pull the navel in, tuck your chin, and then slide those hips back into your child's pose. Inhale as you push forward, coming all the way up into your cow. Shoulder blades knit back behind you. And then exhale, round your spine into your cat. Press into your feet, pull the navel in, and then send your hips back. Inhale, push forward, lengthen the heart, collarbones spread wide. And then exhale, round the spine into your cat, pull the navel in, and send those hips back. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, curl, and sending it back. And once more, inhale, pushing forward. And exhale, curl, and send those hips all the way back. This time I want you to settle into your child's pose. Feel free to keep your arms forward, or if you prefer, your arms can sweep around to the sides of your body. And the fingertips would point towards the back edge of the mat. Whichever your body is looking forward today. Good. Then rising up onto all fours, let's curl the toes under and send it back, downward facing dog. Hips lift high, head hangs down low. And just give the feet a nice pedaling, marching the heels up and down, walking your dog. Wonderful. And then taking a peek between your thumbs, let's walk the feet forward to a standing forward fold. Feet are directly underneath your body. Knees are bent enough so your belly is touching onto your thighs. Let the hands come down, weight forward in your toes, shake the head, yes or no. Good. Then rounding through your spine, think of that cat pose, that nice big stretch. Pull the navel in as you start to roll yourself up. Keep your chin looking down. And then once you feel your shoulders stack, lift the head up through neutral. Take another full breath in here. Then exhale, we're going to roll back down. So tuck the chin, round through the shoulders with the fingertips reach towards the ground. Bend your knees, rounding the spine until belly touches onto thighs. Big full breath in here. And then exhale, pull the navel in, rounding that back and rolling to lift yourself up. Lifting up nice and tall, stacking the vertebrae as you come into your mountain pose. The feet are directly underneath you, fingertips lengthening towards the ground. All four corners of the feet are touching down. So if you're having trouble finding those four corners, lift the toes up off of the floor so you feel the pads of the pinky toes, the balls of the foot, and the inner and outer heel touching down onto the ground. Good. Release the toes back down, but keep the arches lifted. And with your next in-breath, circle the arms wide and high, upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips with the hands touch down to the ground. And then inhale, right foot steps back into lunge. Hips sink down, chest lifts up, looking up. Good. And then exhale, stepping back, downward facing dog. Left foot meets the right, hips are high. Inhale, come forward into plank. Shoulders stacking over the wrists. Exhale, the knees down, tail up, chest and chin to the floor. Inhale to your cobra. Tops of feet touch down, elbows pull back. Exhale, bow and take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look between the hands where you want the foot to go. Right foot steps forward, lunge. Good. Exhale, left foot steps forward, standing forward fold, hips high, head low. Inhale, sweep the arms up, come up with a flat back. You reach the hands up to the sky, and then exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, bow forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, left foot steps back, lunge. Hips down, chest lift. Keep the back leg strong. Exhale, right foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into plank, shoulders stacking over the wrist. Then exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale to cobra, tops the feet touch down. Exhale, bow and take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward all the way, top edge of the mat. Grab it if you can't, get it all the way there. And then exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up, upward hand salute. Exhale to mountain pose. A couple more rounds of sun salutations. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, right foot back, lunge. Hard up. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, bow and take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward, top edge of the mat, looking up, smile. Exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, coming up. And exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, leading with the heart. Bow forward. Inhale, left foot steps back into lunge. Hips down, chest lifts, look up. And then exhale, right foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward into plank, shoulders over the wrist. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, bow and take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward, lunge. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Exhale, mountain pose. Stay here. Close the eyes. Take a full breath in. And deep breath out. One more breath here. And deep breath out. All right, now we're going to revisit some of our standing postures that are going to incorporate quite a few of these side bends and twists. So still standing at the top of your mat, I'm just going to face towards you so you have a better view of this. Your feet are going to be about hip distance apart. So remember to find that ASIS point, anterior superior iliac spine. And you're going to point your fingertips down. That's where your feet and your heels should line up. Inhale, bring the arms up towards the sky. Either your hands can be parallel to each other, or what I like to do is interlace the fingers and point through the index. Reaching up nice and tall, pulling the navel in. Exhale as you lean over to the right, standing half moon pose. We've done this pose a few times before. See if you can squeeze that bottom arm up and in towards your ear. And then making this a lateral stretch. So this is a side bend stretch, not twisting or wrapping the shoulders forward, not a back bend. We're not arching towards the back. Good. And then inhale, lift yourself all the way up. Exhale over to the other side, keeping that bottom arm lifting up. And then squeezing those inner thighs, especially putting weight into that left big toe mound. Good. Inhale, make your way back up. And then exhale, take the hands down and back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Grab the heels of the hands together. And then take the knuckles back as you bring your hips forward. Lift the chest up. Open up the heart center. And then exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees. See if you can bring your belly to your thighs. And then taking those hands away from the hips as best as you can. Keep adding that lift as the shoulder blades move together. Remember that we're keeping the heels of the hands glued. We're not opening up the wrists and breaking through the elbows, but we can keep a bend in the elbows as we start to move the hands away from the body. Good. Another full breath here. And then bring your hands to your buttocks. Slide the hands all the way down towards your ankles. You're going to bend your knees, sink your hips, and reach up into chair pose. Good. Our favorite pose, right? Put that weight back into your heels. Get down a little bit lower. Good. And then we're going to bring our hands together at our chest. So in that prayer shape, I want you to send your hips back as far as they'll let you go. As far as they'll let you go. Good. Get back a little bit further. Maybe your belly is actually touching onto your thighs. I want you to bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. You'll notice that your hands are going to be most likely by your right armpit. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to push down with that right hand to lift the chest up to meet the hands. Keep the hips sinking down low, smiling on your face. This is hard. So remind yourself you can do hard things. That's been my mantra lately. I can do hard things. It kind of reminds me that things are possible. We don't have to freak out anytime that we are faced by a challenge, that we're capable of doing these hard and challenging things. Good. Inhale back in through center. We're going to exhale, give ourselves a break, straightening out the legs, hips go high, standing forward fold. Check in with yourself. Good. Bend your knees, find your way back into your chair pose. Arms float up. Okay, give yourself that pep talk. Maybe this is not as bad as I think it is. Or perhaps, I'm actually enjoying this or getting benefit from it. Feeling my heart beating in my chest is a good thing. Good. Bring your hands together at your chest. Lean your hips way back, maybe getting your belly right on top of your thigh. Then rotating from the rib cage, we're going to bring our right elbow to the outside of left knee. Okay, those hands will be in that prayer shape. Your hands are most likely going to be by your shoulder. You're going to push down with that left hand to lift your chest up. Good. So your elbow's hooking to the outside of that leg to give you that extra leverage. So when you push down, you can lift the chest up. Take another full breath in here. Smiling. And then back in through center, standing forward fold. Hips go high, head hangs low. Good. And then inhale to a flat back, lifting halfway up. Exhale, fold in half. Plant the hands on the floor, walk the feet back, find your plank position. Shoulders stacking over your wrist. Exhale, send those hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, take your right leg up towards the sky, back behind you, lifting up nice and tall. Down dog splits. Exhale, right foot steps forward between the thumbs. This is where you may want to roll up the outside of the mat for a little extra cushion, or if you have your towel, you can place that directly underneath your left knee. Bring the top of your left foot onto the floor, and this can help you so it's not so much pressure of that kneecap pushing into the ground, but you feel that it's allowing you to have more comfort there. I don't want you to be in a kneeling position here where the kneecap is forward. I want you to actually sink down into more of a lunge in this position. So hips are sinking forward towards your right foot. You're going to upright your torso. Maybe the hands are going to stay on your right thigh. Good. So you've got a couple options here. Hands on the thigh. If you prefer, just like we were doing earlier, interlacing the fingers and pointing through the index. Sink those hips down low. Squeeze the inner thighs together. All right, if your hands are on your thigh, you're going to keep your right hand on your leg. Left arm goes up. And then you're going to lean across towards the right. If your hands are up towards the sky, interlaced, you're going to lean again towards the right. So both arms go up and over. I encourage you to keep trying, do what you can, even if it's a breath or two. Good, and then lift yourself up. Exhale, both hands come down towards the ground, just for a moment. We're gonna straighten out our right leg, going into half split. So with this position, you want the hips to actually stack over the left knee. The thigh is gonna be vertical, and your right toes will be pointing up towards the sky. You might be on your fingertips, and your right leg may not be fully straight. That's okay. We're working towards feeling the stretch in the belly of the muscle. Do what you can here. Good. Then making your way back into your lunge. Pressing down into that right foot, you're going to come back up again. And just like our chair twist, we're going to move into the twist here with our hands in a prayer shape. So hands can be there here, okay, as we're working with it. If you feel like this is still a little bit too much for you, you can place your left hand on the floor and the right hand on top of the knee for the twist. Otherwise, hands can be here, and you're going to move your left elbow to the outside of the knee, pressing through that right hand, and then moving into your twist. Good. Keep lifting the chest up, sinking your hips down and forward, moving from the rib cage. Good. Another full breath in here. And then returning back in through center, both hands come down towards the ground. Back toes are going to curl under. We're going to step back into downward facing dog. All right. I know it's been about 2 weeks since we've practiced, so I'm going to give you guys a nice little child's pose. Hips sink back on top of your heels. Forehead comes down. Give yourself a moment to breathe. And let me know if you have any questions on what we've covered so far. Feel free to unmute yourself or post something in the chat real quick before we move on to the next side.
The only thing I'm having trouble with is when we're coming out of that downward dog, pulling up my leg as far as yours.
Yeah.
So I pull up as far as I can, and then I go back. I have a carpet that's slippery, so that I can slide back to my that position. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so stepping it forward into
yes.
A lunge position.
Yes. Yeah. I can't get it all the way up there. And like not even, maybe even half. That's the only stiffness, I guess. I've never been able to do the splits. So that's part of it. There's my tightness.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes it can be a little bit of body positioning. So when we are stepping our foot forward, okay?
Yeah.
If we're in a downward facing dog position, look at the space from underneath my body, okay? And if I were to bring my leg forward from here without moving my arms forward, I get stuck.
Okay, that's where I'm getting stuck.
At the belly.
Okay.
But if I move my shoulders over my wrist, I give myself more space, right?
Okay. All right, good.
So if I move my shoulders over my wrist and then arch the back, I can give myself a little bit more of that step forward.
All right, I will practice that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And see if that helps. You know, it might take a little bit more practice to do, and sometimes it could be flexibility, but sometimes it's just, body positioning. So
yeah, I'm gonna look at that. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, doing that really helped me. I remember I had a hard time doing that too.
Yes. Yeah. Especially during the sun salutations, as you consistently do that version of the sun salutations with the lunge, in time you start learning like the little tricks and things like that. So, all right, let's see if we can do it on this left side then. Okay. All right, so we're in downward facing dog. I want you to take your left leg up towards the sky, back behind you. So we're in a down dog split. And now you actually have a little bit of momentum to help you to swing the foot forward. But yes, I'm moving my shoulders forward to see if I can get my foot all the way there. Hopefully that helped. Good. Lower your back knee down to the ground. We're coming into our lunge. Good. So hands are going to walk up on top of your left thigh. Hips are sinking forward and down. Okay, so hands can either stay on this thigh, or if you'd like to feel a little bit more of that excitement in the posture, arms will come up towards the sky and you're interlacing the fingers and pointing through the index. Good. This is actually the full expression of the pose. This is called crescent pose instead of lunge. It is a lunge, but the full posture is crescent, and you actually bring your arms up and back behind you into that half circle or crescent shape. Good. Another full breath in here. Now, if you have your hands on your thigh, I want you to keep your left hand on your leg. Right arm is going to reach up. You're going to lean to the left. If your hands are interlaced up above, exhale as you lean across towards the left. You're still rooting into that left foot. Okay, so using a lot of that left hamstring and left glute to help stabilize you into the posture. Squeeze those inner thighs together a little bit more. And then inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, hands are going to come down to the ground. Send your hips back, stacking hip over the right knee. So your thigh is vertical here and coming into that half split with the left toes, hopefully pointing up towards the sky. So sometimes that tendency, especially as we work into the hamstrings, is that the toes like to veer off towards the left. See if you can point them straight up. You'll find a little bit more of that juiciness of the pose. Maybe juiciness is not the thing when you're feeling like your hamstrings are made of beef jerky, right? And just filling out the breath. Wonderful. Okay, let's move it forward back into our lunge, preparing for our lunge twist. So you can have your two options here, depending on where you are today. Right hand can be on the floor, left hand on top of the knee, pressing down into the left hand and twisting here, just like Michelle is doing. Good job. Or if you prefer to go a little bit more intense, hands are coming to your heart center. Right elbow hooks to the outside of the knee as you press into those hands and wrap the torso around towards the left. See if you can pull the navel in towards spine as you move. Good. Keeping the neck long and open to the back side especially. Good. Hips sinking down towards your front foot. Another full breath here. Good. And then wrapping your torso back around towards center until hands come down to the ground. Stepping back, downward facing dog. Hips go high, head hangs low. Shaking it, yes or no. Good. And then very slowly, I want you to walk your feet forward to the top edge of the mat. Into that standing forward fold. Knees bend enough so belly can touch onto thighs. Good. From here, you're going to bend your knees all the way until your hips sink back on top of your heels, and then come down onto your seat. See if you can do it with no hands. Look, Mom, no hands. All right, so we're going to go through some of our seated positions, and these are the postures that you're going to be responsible for knowing for your final exam. And it's going to be covering all those postures that are listed on that postures to know page. So this next posture, which is known as revolved head to knee pose, is very similar to our head to knee pose in terms of the shape of the leg. So remember, head to knee pose looks a little bit like tree pose with the foot tucked into the side. And we were in a forward folded shape, okay? But this one, we're gonna actually take the leg out to the side. So keep your right leg tucked in. So heel is towards the groin and left leg is gonna go wide. It doesn't go as wide that you can't get your left sit bone on the ground. So if you're finding that you can't get your sit bone on the ground, bring that foot in just a little bit more. And I want you to be able to have your toes turned upwards as well. So see if you can engage through the kneecap, pulling the kneecap away from the shin, engaging through that quadricep, and keep the toes pointed upwards. We're going to bring our left elbow just above the kneecap. With that elbow there, you should feel that the elbow is pressing down to lift you up. So we're not just sinking down and slumping into the posture. Reach your right arm up towards the sky and take it all the way up and overhead. The palm is facing down towards the ground, so you can find that rotation of the shoulder that allows you to shrug your shoulder blade down and away from your ear. So this is the first level of our side bend or revolved head to knee pose. If you find that this is not enough for you, or you're just curious about what your body's capable of doing today, you can always drop your elbow towards the floor. So the shoulder comes still away from your neck and the arm comes up and over, but you're giving yourself a deeper stretch into that side waist, okay? Beyond that, if you're looking for even deeper, you're gonna bring your shoulder to the leg and try to bring the arm up and over, okay? For my personal practice today, I'm gonna be here. So you find what works best for you, especially finding that in your hamstring, in your groin, and in your side body. Again, we're doing revolved head to knee pose. I'm just taking another full breath in here, breathing into those right ribs, finding the full expanse through the side waist into the obliques and quadratus lumborum and your latissimus dorsi. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just feeling it all here. Good. You're going to press down and lift yourself all the way up. All right. So now I want you to take your left leg. You're going to swing it forward. We're going to come into a few of our twists. So with that left leg forward, I want you to lift your right knee up and then cross that foot to the outside of your left leg. The foot's going to plant on the ground and your right sit bone is going to remain heavy on the ground. A lot of times when we're doing this pose, we start to compensate by lifting up and shrugging through the side waist and kind of look like we're in this, crouched position. I want you to feel like you're anchored into your sit bones, and that roots you to be able to find that freedom of movement through your rib cage. So sitting up nice and tall, you're going to take your left arm up and then exhale, bring the arm to the outside of the leg. If that's not available, hug the arm around the knee. With that, you're going to take your right fingertips behind you. Same idea that we were doing before when we reached our arm out. I want you to feel your rib cage wrap around. So you're pulling your right collarbone away from you. Good. So this one is called half Lord of the Fishes pose. Not to be confused with Lord of the Flies or Lord of the Rings. So this one is one of the beginning phases of this posture. So sometimes it's helpful to know how the poses eventually can advance so that we know that, how and why we do certain things. So with my back hand, I'm just going to show you a different angle of this. With my back hand, notice that I'm not leaning back, okay? I'm using this left hand to lift myself up and to twist a little bit deeper. As the pose evolves, you're going to see yourself coming into, get my shoulders to work today, more of the arm wraps. My fingertips are touching, okay, and my arm is behind me. I don't have the ability to rest on something, so I need to learn how to use my sit bones to keep a strong foundation and base in the posture so I can be in this shape here. Okay. All right. Untangle from the twist. So your belly wraps around. And I want you to swing your right foot around to the outside of your hip. Okay, so right foot swings around to the outside of your hip. And you're going to bring your left foot in front of you. So your shin is going to be parallel to that front end of the mat. Okay, so a little bit better angle for you guys to see with that. Okay, now we're going to twist in the opposite direction. So we're going to go over towards our left leg, left fingertips behind you, right hand on opposite knee. I'm still lifting up tall through my spine as I look over my left shoulder. This one is known as Bharadvajasana. Now, the Sanskrit for that, Bharadvajasana, is just the name of the stage that this pose is dedicated to, Bharadvaja. And so with that, know that for your exam and testing purposes, I'm not going to test you on your ability to spell it. You're going to see it in a multiple choice option, and you're going to be able to pick it out as if you could identify the name. So don't worry about spelling. I understand that Sanskrit is and not something that everybody is familiar with. I'm going to take another full breath in here. And then wrap your chest back around towards the front. Now, with your left foot still tucked in towards your right, you're going to lean into your left side, send your right foot out to the side. Now we're going to work into our side bend or revolved head to knee pose on this other side. Again, adjusting that right leg to a point where you can feel that the toes are pointed up. You can use and grab that thigh using your muscles. Good. And then you're going to bring your right elbow just above the kneecap. Left arm comes up and over with the palm facing the ground and the pinky finger rotating towards the floor in front of you. Again, plug into your sit bone and work with whatever level is appropriate for today. So elbow either on top of the thigh, elbow towards the floor, or shoulder towards the leg as you reach up and over. And again, we're working within our capacity today. Remembering that we want to play the edge as mere curiosity, keeping that open mind, yet we're also allowing ourselves to not be so tethered to an external goal. And that external goal might be to complete the pose, and completing the pose and seeing what the fullest expression is not always the purpose of why we do our postures. The purpose of the postures is to feel sensation, challenge ourselves so that we can be more present, and to experience perhaps some relief and release to allow ourselves to prepare for meditation or breath work. Another full breath in here. And then lift yourself all the way up. Swing right leg around, out in front of you. Lift the left knee up and then cross that foot up and over. Keep the sit bone heavy on the ground. Lift that nice and tall. Bring your right arm up towards the sky and then chop the arm to the outside of the leg.
We're in our half Lord of the Fishes, wrapping all the way around. Taking a full breath in as you lift up taller. Good. And just feeling how that left sit bone presses down to lift and leverage you upwards. And then wrapping your torso all the way back around. You're going to lean into your right sit bone. Swing the left leg around so the foot is by your outer hip. right knee bends. So now your leg is at that 90 or that horizontal shape, parallel to that front edge of the mat, just like that, Michelle. Good. And then you're going to take your right fingertips behind you, left hand on the opposite leg. So this is called Bharadvajasana, or pose dedicated to sage Bharadvaja. Good. So lifting up, wrapping the torso around. What I like about this posture is that it's not such a deep twist that it feels compressing, but it also allows for some space in the torso. So there are different classifications of twists. This one would be considered an open twist because we're opening up towards the side, as opposed to the opposite posture that we just did, which is Lord of the Fishes, which is a closed twist where we're twisting in towards the body. Good. And then wrapping yourself back around towards center. All right, we're going to bring both feet together, knees wide into cobbler's pose. So the soles of the feet are touching, balls of the feet are touching, grabbing a hold of the front of the shins. Inhale and lift yourself up. Exhale as you tip your torso forward. Good. So you're leaning, belly button comes forward towards your feet. Nice. You're using the strength of your butt muscles to help press the knees down. So we don't want to use our elbows to jam the knees down. We're using the strength of our body to help open up the other parts. Good. Another full breath in here. And then lifting yourself up. Okay, so before we make our way onto our back, I wanted to open it up for any questions or comments about the side bend that we did. So revolved head to knee pose, our half Lord of the Fishes, as well as Bharadvajasana, so the twist postures that we had done. Any questions about those, comments, anything at all?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Nope, we're all good. All right. They're simple enough postures to understand, and hopefully just each of the points that I had highlighted will help you to access those deeper parts of the posture. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our way onto our back. So you're gonna lift the knees up, slide your hips forward, you're gonna make your way all the way down onto your back. With your knees in towards your chest, just rock side to side, massaging along the spine. Good. From here, I want you to come back to stillness, cross your right thigh over the left thigh. So the entire leg is crossing over. So it's like you're sitting in a chair and you have a skirt on. You want to have those inner thighs squeezing together. The knees stay lifted up towards your chest. Open the arms out wide into a T shape and then let the knees tip over to the left. This is a pretty deep twist for a lot of us. Do what you can and see if you can allow your feet to come down towards the ground. Look out over your right fingertips. Breathe into your belly and chest. Especially find that opening through your right lung. Good. Then inhale, lift the knees back up through center. Untangle the legs and change the crossing. So left leg is on top now. And you're going to tip the knees over to the right. Let the legs come all the way down towards the ground. And then left arm goes in the opposite direction. Look out over your left fingertips. Breathe into belly and chest. Good, then lift the knees back up through center and untangle the legs. Good, bring those legs back in. And we're gonna gently release the legs all the way down to the ground. So you can come into your half corpse pose or extend the legs all the way out in front of you into your full corpse. So feeling that opening through the front of the pelvis. Walk the shoulder blades underneath you and then allow the palms to turn facing up as you drape the arms down by your sides. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Maybe put a towel across your eyes. Take a full breath into belly. Let it rise into chest and low throat, and then exhale all the way out. Throat, chest, and belly last. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in again. And exhale it out. Continue to breathe on your own, allowing the breath to slow down, eventually relinquishing the control of the breath, allowing it to naturally flow in and out. The reading for today is titled Leaning In. And there's a quote by Melody Beattie that starts it off, saying, "Few situations can be bettered by going berserk." It was the philosopher Michael Zimmerman who told the story of being a boy in school when someone passed him a pair of Chinese handcuffs, a seemingly innocent thimble-like casing with an opening at each end. It was passed to him without a word, and of course, through curiosity, he slipped his left forefinger in one end and then his right in the other. Mysteriously, what made them handcuffs was that the more you tried to pull your fingers out, the tighter they held you. Feeling caught, he panicked and pulled harder. The small cuffs tightened. But suddenly, it occurred to him to try the opposite. And as he leaned his fingers into the problem, the small casing slackened. He could gently and slowly work his fingers free. So many times in life, our pulling in panic only handcuffs us more tightly. In this small moment, the philosopher as a boy reveals to us the paradox that underscores all courage.
that leaning into what is gripping us will allow us to work our way free. So as you rest here, bring to mind a situation you feel stuck in, or a position you're being stubborn about. As you breathe, try to relax your self-protection so you can lean into the situation slightly. Note how this feels. Note if the energy around the situation loosens. This is exactly the work that we tried to do in our practice. Leaning in and trying to maintain our presence without going crazy. It's so simple to do. We let our minds get a hold of us. And in those challenging times, we can flip out. Or we can lean in with caution and see if we can loosen ourselves and perhaps find that sense of freedom. Take another full breath in wherever you are. And a deep breath out. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Make circles with the wrists and ankles. Rock the head side to side again. And stretch the arms up and overhead, reaching long throughout the entire body. Reach, stretch, and release with a sigh. Draw the knees into your chest, wrap the arms around. And carefully tip yourself over to one side, making your way up to a comfortable seated position. We will close our practice today with some alternate nostril breathing in hopes of finding balance. So with sitting up tall, I want you to take your right hand. You're going to curl your first and middle finger towards the palm, exposing your ring finger and pinky, and having your thumb. The thumb will come to your right nostril. The ring finger will go towards your left. Okay, so we'll close off the left first. Exhale out the right nostril fully. Inhale through the right nostril. Close off the right, open up the left, exhale out. Inhale to the left nostril. Close off the left, open up the right, exhale. Inhale, right. Open up the left, close off the right, exhale. Inhale, left. Close off the left, open up right, exhale. Inhale, right. Close off the right, open up the left, exhale. Inhale, left. Close off the left, open up the right, exhale. Inhale, right. Close off the right, open up the left, exhale. Inhale, left. Close off the left, open up the right, exhale. Inhale, right. Close off the right, open up the left, exhale. Inhale. Close off the left, open up the right, exhale. Inhale, right. Close off the right, open left, exhale. Inhale, left. Close left, exhale, right. Inhale, right. Close off right, exhale, left. Inhale, left. One more round, exhale, right. Inhale, right. Close right, exhale, left. Inhale, left. Release your hand and exhale through both nostrils. Take 3 of your fullest breaths here. Carefully bring your hands together at heart center into Anjali Mudra. Bow your head softly forward. I wish you much peace, especially if you are experiencing any anxiety or worry. Just remember that you can do hard things and you can get through challenges. The light within me bows to the light within you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Say.